Look at that, ladies and gents. We have seen a beautiful drop right here in the Bitcoin market, dropping by 7.5% from 65K down to a beautiful low at the $60,000 price range. And we were talking about this very much in depth in the last YouTube video, because these are a few of the key kind of zones that you could consider as invalidation zones for the market. And we've basically fallen down to the bottom of them right here now, which is absolutely fantastic. This is the volatility that we want, and it's doing what we want to see in the market as well, which is basically that it's taking people on a roller coaster of emotions. So that is also absolutely great. I want to talk to you about this price action, show you where I think the beautiful trades that I'm interested in are as well. And of course, before I get into this YouTube video, if you are interested in taking advantage of the moves in the market, then take a look at the beautiful offers available to you with the links in the description below. Bybit is giving you up to $30,000 in free trading capital. This is pretty much the most established exchange in the game, because they're not Binance, and they are going to give you this money that you can trade with. Any profits you generate are yours to keep. That comes into your account when you start trading using my link. And same thing with BingX here, but they don't even require KYC, so no pictures of yourself, no pictures of your ID, and over $100,000 in bonuses. So check them both out. You'll get these bonuses when you do make your deposit and start trading on these exchanges. Let's come back here, though, and talk a little bit more about the market, because what's very, very exciting about this is that Bitcoin has fallen down to beautiful zones on this chart now, and it's also punched in a low. And this is where things get really interesting, because the follow-through hasn't been amazing off this low at the $60,000 price area, but it hasn't been terrible either. And one of the things this means now is that if you are excited about this kind of thing, and actually you think that this is a longer term kind of pivot point for the market, then actually what this means is that we're at a really nice area to start considering taking some long positions, because the stop loss is easy to set now. When you punch in a low like this, it's very easy to say that the stop loss should be below this low, because if you drop below this low, then you're probably dropping significantly lower. I actually think that because we've managed to come down so low, and we've basically tagged this golden pocket. By the way, I just want to give you guys a reminder of which Fibonacci this golden pocket was. If you were subscribed to the YouTube channel and you watched my video yesterday, you will already know, so shout out to you. But just in case not, this is the Fibonacci that we were looking at, stretching from this low up to the prior high that the market set, which in my opinion is one of the most valid Fibonacci retracements on this chart. And we print a beautiful golden pocket between the 6.6 and 6.18 Fibonacci levels at the $60,200 up to $60,600, $500 area, right? So very, very nice golden pocket here, which we have more or less tagged right there. Look at that, hitting that 618 level, which is absolutely fantastic, fulfilling this Fibonacci retracement. And so to me, it basically puts us like as low as I would be willing to tolerate Bitcoin dropping, and that's why I think it becomes very easy to set a stop loss below this level, right? Because I think that if the price does end up slipping below this level, it's no longer an interesting trade. It's now going to be a situation where, look, we've had our retracement. It's time to stop fucking around. We've already even had a nice big bounce. If this bounce doesn't materialize into a move up, then nothing will, and we're back down into the 50K range. I genuinely think that that could be a path to opening up the bearish hypothesis, but as it stands right now, this is an area of support, and so far we've actually used it as support quite well. We've managed to bounce off this price range off a beautiful 618 Fibonacci level from low to high, up by 3% within just a matter of a few hours. It's definitely checking the boxes to tell us that it's moving fine so far. I'm not worried. I think it's a good sign. The next concern will be where is resistance, right? And resistance you can see by, again, taking another fib. This is what we were doing in the last video, and just taking a look at where some of these interesting levels could be. We've got the 382 level right here, which is where we're getting rejected at. And if we draw this fib way higher up to this high that we had right here, we've got our 618 golden pocket, which is exactly where we are finding some resistance now. So this is going to be an important range for Bitcoin to overcome. If Bitcoin can overcome this yellow box that we also drew in the last video, then I think we're in a really good place. I think the next key zone for Bitcoin to break will be these highs that Bitcoin was struggling at over the last few days, and more importantly, the prior high at 65. But this is the real test. If we can get above this area, I don't think this area is going to be a challenge at 64.7. I don't think this area is going to be a challenge at 64, at 65K. And I actually think that it's going to be a pretty easy ride up to that 67K area. I do feel like this is now one of our most important areas on the chart to break. And as long as we can get above it, we should be okay. Let me just confirm that, though, because I'm not 100% sure about that. Let me just take a look at this on the fixed range volume profile. And what I want to see is a nice big spike. And yeah, that spike does more or less come up to the same level. So I could extend the box up just by a little bit. But the point is the same. I mean, this is our zone of resistance. In fact, yeah, let me just stretch it up a little bit more. This is more or less the key zone that we really want to break for the chart, especially because that that point of control, stands right here. And this is about the 63.5K area. We need to get above this price level, but as long as we do, we're good. Anything below this price level and, it's still a dangerous place, and we really need to get out of it quickly, because the problem is that if we don't get above this area quickly, then we're not getting a quick bounce off support, right? We've already bounced off support here. We want to get quick reactions. I've been talking to you guys about this a lot on this YouTube channel recently. It's not a concept that you typically hear about because most people just don't fucking trade. They don't understand analysis. But, you and I, we're actually, committed to the market here, so we don't have a choice. And, one of the things you'll learn if you've been in the game for a long time, or if you've been subscribed to this YouTube channel, is that you have got a beautiful, easy way to tell if a support level is going to hold, which is simply by assessing how quickly you bounce off your support areas, right? So here we're getting very, very quick bounces, but here it's starting to slow down, which is your warning sign that the next time is going to be a collapse, right? So this is not the quickest bounce ever, but it's definitely not too slow at the moment. But I do need to see quick follow through here. If we start kind of messing around like this, that's not going to give me confidence that we're going to, break higher. It's probably going to tell me that, yeah, we're about to roll over and it's going to get really bad. So that's going to be something I'll watch, and that invalidation remains at the 63K area. It's nice because a lot of this analysis, and we're about, what is this now? We're 6-7 minutes through the video, and we're focusing really on very short-term price analysis. And I actually like that because that means that we just have more to do. One of the other things that's taking place now in the market, if we go ahead and take a look at this on the Fear and Greed Index, is that we've reset the Fear and Greed Index massively now. I mean, last week we had a reading of 43, and this week has been a roller coaster for the market. We've gone from 43 up to 71 in just a matter of a few days, and now back down to 55. And this has been price action that's frustrated a lot of people. If you take a look at what people have been talking about in the market, there's been a lot of stop losses being hit. There's been a lot of, traders getting frustrated and bored with the environment right now. And that is, of course, where people start to make mistakes. So that's where this actually becomes a very profitable time for people like you and I to be paying attention in this market right now. And that's why also these offers are such a big deal in the market, because shout out to those of you that have already gotten them. You are locked and loaded, ready to go with a bunch of free capital that you can deploy into the market just by following these links that you've got in the description down below. So super, super cool offers. Also, I have briefly told you guys about our 12-week offer that I've just launched for you guys, something I've already run before. If you want some more details of it, check it out with this link on screen. I won't talk too much about it in this one, but I do want to bring that to your attention again. Let's come back again here to the chart. And like I said, invalidation right up here at about 63.5K. Let me actually drop a line, and let's make that line red because this is a big deal, this line right here. That is the key level that we really want to get above. And again, one of the other cool things about this market is that when you start to trend down, the levels that you need to break change, right? The most important level, which is going to change everything and make everything good again, these levels get lower and lower as time goes on within a downtrend. For example, previously, for Bitcoin to really start setting brand new all-time highs again and being super, super bullish, we had to break above this level. Now it became, afterwards, it became this level, right? Because you know that if you break this level, you're going to fly past the all-time high. It's pretty obvious. And then when a bunch of shit happened, it became this level. And you know that if you're able to break this level, well, then you're definitely going to be able to get above to this area, and then you'll definitely be able to break this because you're just carrying a lot of strength through. If you're able to break such an important area of resistance, which is 67K, and it is a very important area of resistance, then your other areas of resistance up ahead shouldn't be a particularly big problem. And that is exactly what we see. So Now we've got that invalidation even lower. It just makes it even easier for the bulls. But again, that doesn't mean that, the pressure is off. We do need to see a quick reaction here. Otherwise, this is going to start to look like a very ugly chart. It's going to start to look like something very dangerous and something that we really don't want to be paying attention to. In fact, if you take a look at this on larger time frames, there's been a little bit of fear on the monthly time frame, actually, which is obviously not something I look at ever. But there has been a little bit of fear that Bitcoin is starting to look a little bit like its price action from the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, where it topped out and then it just, had a candle that, basically matched the previous one, and then it was, it's just end of the market. You start dropping by half and it's just absolutely horrific price action, very, very volatile. Very, very uncomfortable, and I think that a lot of people are starting to kind of open themselves up to that possibility now. Again, what I'm interested in seeing, and the reason I'm highlighting this to you, is that if we start to get a lot of these really bearish, nasty charts being thrown out in the market while we're still at a support level, well, then that actually puts us in a really good position where we are doing something very typical in the market, which is simply that we're getting very bearish at the bottom, and of course we're getting very bullish at the top. If we're getting bearish at the bottom, if sentiment is taking a very negative turn at market bottoms, at areas where we expect to find support, well then we understand that things like the fear and greed index are operating the way we expect them to. And that's a very good thing because it makes it a lot easier for people like you and I to then actually commit to these buys down in these ranges, because we understand that people are getting very scared and very, very uncomfortable. So it's a good time to start seeing charts like this being spoken about. And the 2-month is even worse. The 2-month is actually one of the worst charts I've ever seen in my life. And the good thing is that there's still well over a month left to go, until this resolves. If I'm not mistaken, I actually need to double check that, make sure I'm right about that. But I believe that is the case. Yeah, because we finished April and now we're in May. Yeah, so there's well over a month left for this 2-month candle. But the previous one closed very badly. The previous 2-month candle was absolutely horrific because this is a gravestone doji, which is a very, very bad thing. It basically is an indication of the market just losing so much of what it gained within that time period that it's now going to get ready to trend down. Now, this particular candle has actually never come up on Bitcoin's chart ever before on the 2-month. And it's also not that important because we're on the 2-month time frame and absolutely nobody's looking at the 2-month time frame. But what's important about it is that it is a representation of how much we've lost after gaining so much. I do want to point out to you that we have painted things similar to this before, and they haven't really had a super crazy effect on the market. So nothing particularly concerning from this perspective. They both did result in drops, but the drops weren't big. I'm not saying that it's going to result in a drop here, but I would be an irresponsible trader and above that an irresponsible analyst if I simply ignored signs like this as well. Now, like I said, if we start to get above some of these invalidation zones, I'd be expecting nice clean run-ups to these next zones of resistance, and it's pretty clear the kind of levels that we need to break if we do start to get above them. 67K is going to be the first real big test for this market, and if it does end up working out as a test, then what I can tell you for sure is that Bitcoin has beautifully used the Fibonacci, which stretches between these two circles, to bounce off that 618 level and then carry on higher. It would be the most typical bullish situation that the market could develop, and that's why I don't want to get bearish when we've actually done something really good. Again, if we start to lose this level, it is very easy to digest that things are probably going to be very bad, because I really don't have any tolerance for the price to get lower than this. You see, the thing is that this 618 golden pocket, this Fibonacci golden pocket, does stretch all the way down to 60K flat, but now that we've already punched in a low, the chance that we drop back down here and we stop here is very slim in my opinion. We've already punched in a low. If this low wasn't enough and we need to grab liquidity here, this doesn't make sense as being the end. I would anticipate that we actually need to grab the liquidity way down here, which we haven't grabbed yet, and this is more like the 55K zone. I would find this much, much more likely if Bitcoin sweeps this low. And that's why it's become an interesting zone for me to start considering some longs, because it's just so clear to put the stop loss here. It doesn't mean it's a good trade, but it does mean that it's a very clear stop loss, and that's not something that you get all the time, and that's why I personally think it is an interesting opportunity in the market right now. Very, very cool stuff. If we do end up dropping down, you already know the deal. Nothing changes. Our next zones for liquidity are going to be down in the 52K range. We understand that when we have these big bouts of volatility, these gaps do tend to get filled very easily, and you fall down to the next key range of trading. If we fail this 52K level, it's going to be 44 from my perspective, and that would, of course, print a beautiful 40% correction from the absolute all-time high, which is, again, also a very, very good sign for the market, which would indicate that, yeah, we've had a full market reset here. So that would also be very, very nice indeed. You know, we saw a lot of premature celebration on this rally, so you know, I think it's nice to see some of that get corrected as well. If we do end up start moving up again, hopefully the market gets humbled a little bit before that does start happening. S&P 500 continuing to look strong here, and I think that's one of the key reasons that Bitcoin has been able to hold on the way it did. It does mean that Bitcoin is lagging behind massively because the S&P 500 is very close to its all-time highs now. Bitcoin is not. It looks like this resistance level is pretty much dealt with, so that's good too. Could the S&P 500 find resistance at any point now? Yes, of course it could, but I'm not going to be holding my breath for it. I would like it to, and I think it should, you know, but at this point, I don't want to keep on, you know, kind of holding on to that kind of idea because we have broken resistance. You know, at this point, I think that if the S&P 500 does start to form some sort of retracement, I'm probably going to have to view it as a more bullish thing, even though I don't want to, even though I still think that the S&P 500 should be moving down because it'd be the healthiest thing. You know, it looks like that's not quite what we're getting right now. Looking at the dollar, we've seen a rejection of our resistance. We've seen a bounce off our support. It is business as usual over here, and I don't think that there's any bearing on Bitcoin right now for the dollar, and really even the S&P 500 generally speaking. Like I said, you know, it could be the reason that Bitcoin's done okay, especially as it's dropping down, but they are in very different places right now. So you know, I don't think it's the most important, you know, kind of correlation to be watching right now. I want to take a quick look at a couple of the alts that I'm interested in. Just to give you guys a scoop, obviously it's always going to be the same broadly speaking. We're still trading sideways here on Matic, just sideways right in the middle of the range. There is absolutely nothing to do here with this coin. Very similar picture for Cardano, just consolidating right above a zone of support. Obviously, if we get very comfortable at these zones of support, we can start to lose them and collapse below them. But so far, it is holding up above this range. The last time it was in this position, it actually managed to hold on for 130 days. And so far, it's only been 30 days. So if you look at it that way, there's still a lot more tolerance to go. Solana right here, holding pretty steady, you know, just doing its own thing, trading broadly sideways in a range that stretches about 40%. It has found some local support here, but again, I don't think this is anything particularly crazy. And I think this is all just, you know, a bit of altcoins doing their own thing while Bitcoin figures out where it wants to go. So very, very good stuff here. You know, a good chart, a good bounce down from a very good price level. It's not something I'm concerned about at the moment. And the very, very good news, ladies and gents, and I cannot stress this enough, is that if we do end up dropping, it's so clear what the invalidation would be now, which makes it very easy for you and I to anticipate what the next trades could be. And if we do end up continuing higher, we've also got a very clear invalidation. So to me, again, very, very easy to start seeing where I can be very bullish again, where I can start being very bearish again, and accordingly, where I can start taking trades in this market. So super exciting stuff, ladies and gents. Thank you all for tuning in. I am very excited to continue to see how this develops. Of course, take advantage of the phenomenal offers down below if you are interested in getting free cash deposited into your account, which you can trade with. Of course, any profits you generate would be yours to withdraw as well. Again, just a very, very important note. If you do want to get any of these bonuses, you do have to start depositing and trading using these links below. Otherwise, you won't get the bonuses. So they do want to see some effort on your side, but you know, you will be rewarded very handsomely for that. So there you go, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have. And I'll see you all in the next one. Subscribe, click the bell, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Cheers.